Hey everybody. So a few weeks back I recorded a very long video, I think it was 8 minutes, about the way that I see how things are going in the United States right now. And it's long. I watched it a few times and it can be a bit confusing, so I guess I'm going to chunk it, as we call it in school. Basically just attack certain points on different videos. What I want to talk about today was rentals, home rentals or apartment rentals. I've owned a home one time for a few years. My wife got cancer and we lost that home, but basically the majority of my work life we've had to rent. I actually am from Florida. We've lived in Florida so long that DNA says you've been in Florida too long. So we moved during the end of COVID to Texas because teachers get paid significantly more than they do in Florida, but the rent and prices are around the same as they would be if you're from North Florida like I am. But our last when we were about to move, what made us decide to move is our rent went from $1,100 for the apartment we had to $2,200 when we went to renew. And that price was incredibly, I wasn't making any more money than I was before, and I think that happened to a lot of people. And rental is the biggest income lots of people spend, and if you have to rent, you have to rent. I know they're saying that home ownership right now is more expensive than renting because of the interest rate, and I understand that too, but I wanted to get something basic out there. I've been renting a long time. I used to work in the hotel industry. Back in the day, they would have general rates for general days, and if there was a big event in town, everybody would jack up their prices to get the most profit they can from that renting, okay? Eventually, all the hotels, corporations and groups started colluding together, and basically they have daily rates based off of A, occupancy, and B, basically everyone sharing how much they're charging for rooms in that area so they can maximize their profit, okay? So somewhere in the early 2000s, rental properties started doing the same thing. So it didn't matter if it was basically a hood hole apartment or a luxury apartment. In most places, you'd find rent prices maybe a couple $100 difference. That shows you right there that this daily rate is basically the rental corporations inflating rent prices that are different than market, because they're creating the market price based off of making sure that everyone is having to pay around the same amount of money. As a consumer, this is not a hotel room. This is where we live for 12 months, 16 months, 24-month leases. And quite frankly, it's wrong because they are clearly trying to maximize their profit by basically colluding to inflate prices higher than they really should be. So it's really not market forces. It's pretty much I guess it would be price fixing maybe, or collusion, or basically they're making sure that we're having to spend as much money as possible on rent. No one, even in a free market, should believe that is right to do. It's just wrong. There's so many people out there that are having to spend every last dime just paying on rent that they aren't able to save money to buy a house Their credit isn't getting any better because they don't have extra money because of the cost of everything. I mean, it's almost like these property companies want to keep you poor so you continue to rent. There has to be some kind of change in that. There has to be some type of regulation, and I think that we need to lobby for that, because God knows they have people lobbying for them. We need to push the government into not somehow making this type of collusion illegal, because they're basically making a giant monopoly, price setting, and price setting is not something, again, I understand that on certain luxury goods and the like, but we're talking about basic living. Basic living costs should never be, let's try and choke out the average person. I mean, we're working for all these people, these corporations, these governments, and they want to make sure we stay poor. I mean, that's not America. That's just wrong. So think about that. I really do think that there is collusion in the real estate market when it comes to these corporations, and when it comes to renting and how they're doing the daily rate instead of daily market rate instead of being reasonable. I mean, they're just making sure we stay poor. Okay, so think about what I said. Hopefully that made sense. And please, I don't know if you subscribe, but please follow me if you want to hear more of this kind of content. Thank you.